Chandigarh, the city beautiful, is grappling with an ugly truth. A controversial order restricting share-wise property sales has plunged residents into a quagmire of legal battles and financial distress. Families are torn. Livelihoods are threatened. The very fabric of this planned city is unraveling. The root of the problem lies in the complex ownership structure of Chandigarh's properties. Many homes are owned jointly by multiple heirs. The recent order, however, throws a wrench into this traditional system. It effectively bars the sale of individual shares, creating a bureaucratic nightmare for residents. Imagine inheriting a share of your ancestral home, a place filled with memories. Now, imagine being unable to sell your portion, even in dire need. This is the harsh reality facing countless Chandigarh residents. The order has effectively stripped them of their property rights, leaving them trapped in a legal labyrinth. This is not just an administrative issue, it's a humanitarian crisis. Chandigarh, once a symbol of modern India, is now a city divided, its residents entangled in a web of regulations and despair. February 9th, 2023. This date will forever be etched in the collective memory of Chandigarh. It was on this day that the administration delivered its devastating blow. The controversial order restricting share-wise property sales came into effect, sending shockwaves through the city. The order, shrouded in ambiguity, has triggered widespread confusion and fear. Residents, already grappling with the complexities of joint ownership, are now faced with insurmountable hurdles. The administration's silence on crucial aspects of the order has only exacerbated the situation. The lack of clarity regarding implementation, exemptions, and appeal mechanisms has created a breeding ground for corruption and exploitation. Residents are left at the mercy of unscrupulous officials, further deepening their sense of helplessness and despair. February 9th was not just the day an order was passed. It was the day Chandigarh's spirit was broken. The city, known for its progressive outlook, is now held hostage by an administration that seems indifferent to the plight of its people. The right to property is a fundamental human right. Yet, in Chandigarh, this right is being systematically eroded. The restrictions on share-wise property sales are not merely an administrative inconvenience. They are a blatant violation of the basic rights guaranteed to every Indian citizen. The administration's actions have far-reaching consequences. Families are being torn apart as disputes erupt over property inheritance. Individuals are being denied access to crucial funds, jeopardizing their health, education, and overall well-being. The elderly, particularly vulnerable in such situations, are bearing the brunt of this crisis. With their life savings tied up in property, they are left with no means to support themselves or access essential healthcare. Chandigarh, once a beacon of hope and opportunity, is now a city where human rights are under siege. The administration's neglect has created a climate of fear and uncertainty, leaving residents feeling betrayed and abandoned. Section 4: Broken Promises and Political Posturing. In the face of mounting public anger, local MPs Sanjay Tandon and Manish Tiwari have offered little more than empty promises. Their initial pronouncements of support and intervention have proven to be mere political posturing. The residents of Chandigarh are left feeling betrayed and abandoned. Tandon, despite his vocal criticism of the order, has failed to take any concrete action. His promises of engaging with the administration and finding a swift resolution have remained unfulfilled. The residents, once hopeful of his intervention, are now disillusioned by his inaction. Tiwari, too, has been conspicuous by his absence. Despite representing Chandigarh in Parliament, he has done little to raise the issue at the national level. His silence speaks volumes about his commitment to the very people he swore to serve. The residents of Chandigarh are tired of empty promises and political maneuvering. They demand action, not words. They deserve leaders who will stand by them in their hour of need, not abandon them to navigate this crisis alone. Section 5: A city on the brink. Despair and desperate measures. Despair hangs heavy in the air of Chandigarh. The once vibrant city, pulsating with life and optimism, is now shrouded in a palpable sense of hopelessness. The property crisis has taken its toll, pushing residents to the brink. The stories emerging from Chandigarh are heart-wrenching. Families are being driven to the edge of financial ruin, unable to meet basic needs or afford life-saving medical treatments. The elderly, stripped of their financial security, are left to fend for themselves, their golden years tarnished by anxiety and despair. The situation is so dire that some residents, driven to desperation, are contemplating drastic measures. Reports of individuals considering suicide or euthanasia are a chilling testament to the depth of their despair. The very fabric of this once thriving city is unraveling, thread by thread. The human cost of this crisis is immeasurable. The dreams, aspirations, and even the will to live are being crushed under the weight of administrative apathy. Chandigarh, once a symbol of India's progress, is now a city teetering on the precipice of despair. Section 6. A Glimmer of Hope. From Purohit to Kataria. The arrival of a new governor, Gulab Chand Kataria, offered a flicker of hope in the midst of despair. His predecessor, Banwarilal Purohit, had turned a deaf ear to the pleas of Chandigarh's beleaguered residents. Kataria's appointment, however, brought with it the promise of a fresh perspective, a chance for change. Kataria, known for his empathetic approach and decisive leadership, initially raised expectations. Residents dared to hope that he would recognize the gravity of the situation and take swift action to alleviate their suffering. The initial days of his tenure were marked by a flurry of meetings and pronouncements, fueling optimism among the beleaguered populace. However, as weeks turned into months, the initial optimism began to wane. Kataria, despite his initial pronouncements, seemed reluctant to overturn or even significantly modify the controversial order. The residents of Chandigarh, once again, found themselves caught in a cycle of hope and disappointment. The question remains, will Kataria prove to be a true leader, willing to stand up for the rights of Chandigarh's residents? Or will he, like his predecessor, succumb to the pressures of bureaucracy, leaving the people to their fate? Only time will tell.